You hear it everywhere. Fuel injection is better. It's more efficient. It starts better in the cold. It adjusts for altitude automatically. It's the future. The carburetor is dead. Old technology, unreliable, inefficient. Something for classic cars and lawnmowers, not real ATVs. I'm here to tell you that's wrong. Not just wrong, backwards. For senior riders, for anyone who wants a machine they can fix themselves, for anyone who plans to keep an ATV for more than a few years, the carburetor is better. Not just good enough. Better. Today, I'm going to prove it. I'm going to name the advantages of carburetors that the fuel injection marketing machine doesn't want you to know. I'm going to show you why your next ATV should have a carburetor, not injectors. And I'm going to tell you exactly which vintage machines still have them. Let's start with the biggest advantage of all. Advantage 1. You can fix it with a screwdriver. Your carburetor stops working. You're on the trail. You're miles from the truck. What do? If you have fuel injection, you call a tow truck. You wait, you pay, you miss the rest of the ride. If you have a carburetor, you pull out the screwdriver you brought because you're smart. You remove the bowl. You spray out the jet that's clogged. You put it back together. You ride away. This is not theoretical. This is the reality of owning a carbureted machine. The carburetor is a simple mechanical device. A float, a needle, a few jets, some passages. There's nothing electronic, nothing computerized, nothing that requires a dealer computer to diagnose. The industry experts at DFI Guide put it plainly. __quote_0___. Try that with a fuel injector. When a fuel injector fails, you need a new injector. When the ECU that controls the injector fails, you need a new ECU. When the sensor that tells the ECU what to do fails, you need a new sensor. And you need a dealer computer to figure out which one is broken. The carburetor doesn't have any of that. It just works. And when it doesn't, you can fix it. Now pause here. Have you ever been stranded by a fuel injection problem? Have you ever fixed a carburetor on the trail? Comment below. Advantage 2. Parts cost pennies. Let me compare the cost of repairing a carburetor versus repairing fuel injection. A carburetor rebuild kit costs between $15 and $40. It includes every gasket, every seal, every jet, every part that can wear out. You replace everything. The carburetor is like new. A new fuel injector costs between $50 and $200 for one injector. Most ATVs have one, but some have more. A new fuel pump for a fuel-injected ATV costs $100 to $400. A new throttle position sensor costs $50 to $150. A new ECU costs $500 to $1,500, and it has to be programmed by a dealer. Add it up. A complete fuel injection system replacement can cost over $2,000. A complete carburetor replacement costs $200 for a new unit. A rebuild costs $40. When a forum member was asked about switching to fuel injection, the response was telling. __quote_1__. That's the carburetor advantage. Simplicity is cheap. Advantage 3. No electronics to fail fuel injection systems rely on a network of sensors. The throttle position sensor tells the ECU how far open the throttle is. The crankshaft position sensor tells the ECU when to fire the injector. The coolant temperature sensor tells the ECU how much fuel to add when the engine is cold. The oxygen sensor tells the ECU if the mixture is correct. Each sensor is a potential failure point. Each sensor requires the ECU to interpret its signal. Each sensor can fail without warning, leaving you stranded. The carburetor has no sensors. It has no ECU. It has no wiring. It has a float bowl that fills with fuel, a needle that opens and closes, and jets that meter the fuel. That's it. When a forum member was asked about converting a carbureted ATV to fuel injection, the response was __quote_2__. The reverse is also true. A fuel-injected machine that loses its ECU is a paperweight. A carbureted machine that loses its carburetor can be fixed with a $40 rebuild kit. Advantage 4. You can tune it with your hands. Carburetors are tunable by the average rider. Swap a jet, adjust the air screw, change the needle position. You can dial in the fuel mixture for your specific altitude, your specific temperature, your specific riding style. Fuel injection requires a computer, and on most modern ATVs, the ECU is locked. You can't tune it without expensive aftermarket solutions. You can't adjust it for a high-altitude ride. You can't lean it out for better fuel economy. You can't do anything except what the factory programmed. The DFI guide notes that quote 3. That's true. EFI adjusts automatically. But here's the question. Do you need that precision? If you're riding from sea level to 10,000 feet in the same day, maybe. If you're a senior rider staying within a few thousand feet of your home, probably not. And even if you do need to adjust, you can. It just takes 10 minutes with a screwdriver instead of 0 minutes with a computer. Advantage 5. The vintage market is full of them. Here's the practical advantage for 2026. Some of the best vintage ATVs have carburetors, and they're selling for pennies. A 1990s Honda 4Trax Rancher 300 with a carburetor costs $1,500 to $2,500. A new fuel-injected four-wheeler costs $8,000 to $15,000. Which one is the better value? Which one will still be running in 10 years? Which one can you fix yourself when something goes wrong? The answer is clear. The carbureted vintage machine wins on every metric except cold starting and altitude compensation. One owner of a King Quad 300 confirmed this directly. Quote _4 __. That's the carburetor advantage. Not complexity, not precision, simplicity, reliability, repairability. What the EFI advocates get right. I'm not going to pretend carburetors are perfect. They're not. Let me be fair about the disadvantages. Fuel injection starts better in the cold. It's true. A carbureted engine might need choke and some cranking on a freezing morning. EFI fires right up. Fuel injection handles altitude changes automatically. Also true. If you ride from sea level to mountain passes, EFI adjusts. A carbureted engine might run rich or lean until you rejet. Fuel injection is more fuel efficient, marginally. The difference is small, but it exists. Fuel injection produces slightly lower emissions. Also true. That's why manufacturers switched. Not because EFI is better for riders, because EFI is better for regulators. But here's the question those advocates never answer. Do those advantages matter to the senior rider who rides locally, maintains their own machine, and keeps it for years? For most of us, the answer is no. Why senior riders should choose carburetors? Let me speak directly to the senior riders watching this. You remember carburetors. You grew up with them. You know how they work. You know how to clean a jet. You know how to set the idle. You know how to use the choke. Fuel injection is new. It's unfamiliar. It requires special tools you don't have. It requires diagnostic procedures you don't know. It requires dealer visits you don't want. Why would you choose the unfamiliar, complex, expensive system over the familiar, simple, cheap one? One forum member put it perfectly. __quote_5__. That's the advice I give to every senior rider. Stick with what works. Stick with what you know. Stick with what you can fix. The best carbureted ATVs still available. If I've convinced you that carburetors are better, here are the machines you should look for. Honda 4Trax Rancher 300 and 350, 1990s to 2000s. The gold standard. Simple. Reliable. Parts everywhere. Honda 4Trax Foreman 450, 1998 to 2004. More power, same simplicity. A legendary machine. Yamaha Grizzly 600, 1998 to 2001. The best automatic transmission from the carbureted era. Comfortable, capable, dependable. Yamaha Kodiak 400, 2000 to 2006. Lighter than the Grizzly. Simpler suspension. Still a tank. Kawasaki Bayou 220 and 300, 1980s to 2000s. The budget king. Under $1,000 for a running example. Unkillable. Suzuki King Quad 300, 1990s to 2002. The forgotten gem. As good as the Honda, less expensive. These machines are all carbureted. All simple, all repairable, all available for a fraction of what a new fuel-injected machine costs. How to keep a carburetor running. Carburetors do need some care. Here's how to keep yours running for decades. Use fresh fuel. Old gas gums up jets and passages. If the machine sits for more than a month, add stabilizer. If it sits for more than 6 months, drain the carburetor bowl. Add a fuel filter. Many old machines don't have good filtration. Add an inline filter. It's $5 and saves you hours of cleaning. Run the carburetor dry before storage. Turn off the fuel valve and let the engine idle until it dies. This empties the bowl and prevents varnish buildup. Clean it occasionally. Every few years, pull the carburetor, spray out the passages, replace the gaskets. It's an afternoon of work and $20 in parts. Don't let it sit. Carburetors hate sitting. The more you ride, the better they run. Follow these steps and your carburetor will outlast the rest of the machine. The bottom line fuel injection is not better. It's different, more complex, more expensive, harder to fix, more dependent on electronics. For a senior rider who wants a simple, reliable, repairable ATV, the carburetor is the better choice. Not just good enough, better. You can fix it with a screwdriver. Parts cost pennies. There are no sensors to fail. You can tune it with your hands. And the best vintage machines still have them. Fuel injection is great for the manufacturers. It lets them meet emission standards. It lets them add complexity that you have to pay a dealer to fix. It makes the machine a closed system that you can't work on. Fuel injection is not great for you, not for your wallet, not for your independence. So fight me. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me fuel injection is better. But when you're stranded on the trail with a sensor failure, think of this video. Think of the carburetor. And think of the screwdriver in your pocket. Your turn. Now I want to hear from you. Do you prefer carburetors or fuel injection? Why? Have you been stranded by EFI problems? Have you revived a dead carburetor on the trail? Share your stories in the comments. Let the fight begin. Next week, I'm making a video about how to convert a fuel-injected ATV to a carburetor. It's possible. It's not easy. But for some machines, it's worth it. Hit like if you want to see it. Until then, keep the rubber side down and the carburetor clean. The old ways are not dead. They're just waiting for someone who knows their value.